Hi, and welcome to my video on reciprocal trig ratios, part 4. Find the exact values of 30, 60, 45-degree angles. And let's do some examples. But before we start, we have to look at Sohcahtoa, S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. And sine is S, so we need a cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. Cos begins with C, so I need a secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Tan is reciprocal as cot, adjacent over opposite. So that will help us do these questions. So besides that, we also have a 30-degree angle. So that means we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. And if we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, opposite 30 is 1. Opposite the right angle is 2. Opposite 60 is root 3. As a circle with 1, 2, root 3. Notice this is what you have to remember. So this could also be n, 2n, and n root 3. But when we're dealing with finding the ratios, we don't need to put n in. If we're finding the length of the sides, then we can go n, 2n, and n root 3. But to get the ratios, we just need 1, 2, and root 3. Again, opposite to 30, which is the smallest angle, is the smallest length of the side, 1. Opposite to 90, which is the largest angle, is 2. Opposite 60 is root 3. And the 45, 45 special right triangle is 45, 45. Two angles are equal, so we got a 1 and a 1. And the hypotenuse is root 2. And if you have it in terms of n, this is n, n, and root 2. But because we're doing ratios, we only need to look at the 1, 2, root 3, 1, 1, root 2. And that's a series of videos that I did on the special right triangles. Now, we need secant of 30. The secant of 30, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So in relation to the 30-degree angle, the secant is hypotenuse, which is 2, over the adjacent, which is root 3. So we multiply by root 3 over root 3, so that gives us 2 root 3 over 3. Exact values means you cannot change your root to a decimal. Leave it as a square root, root 3. The cot of 45, 45-degree triangle, we're looking at this one. And cot is adjacent over opposite. In relation to the 45-degree angle, any angle adjacent is 1 over opposite, which is 1. So the answer is 1. That's easy. But you have to learn these triangles. You have to learn these sine, cos, tan, cosecant. You have to learn this. Write it down, write down the triangles. And you can't go wrong. When I say can't, now you got to be careful. Cosecant. Cosecant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So the cosecant of 60 degrees, we're looking at the 60 degrees. Hypotenuse is a 2 over the adjacent, which is 1. So that's a 2. So that's not too bad. You just take your time and work them through. Practice. Find exact values of each. The cot of 30. So let's look at cot. Cot is adjacent over opposite. Okay. Of 30 degrees adjacent, which is root 3. We're looking at the 30-degree angle adjacent is root 3, opposite is 1. Root 3 over 1 is root 3. Cosecant. Cosecant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So in relation to the 30-degree angle, hypotenuse is 2, and the adjacent is root 3. And we multiply by root 3 over root 3. 2 times root 3 is 2 root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is 3. And we have the secant of 60. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Secant, hypotenuse over adjacent. In relation to the 60-degree angle, hypotenuse, well, no matter what you do, hypotenuse is going to be 2 no matter what angle you look at. But in relation to 60, the adjacent side is 1. So they worked out to be, everything is okay. Notice. And again, don't forget you can pause your videos when you're working these out. Now we have a different sort of problem, but not really, similar. Find the exact values of all trig ratios for angle 30. So now let's see, we got all trig ratios. We have SOHCAHTOA. Let's write that down. Let's write down sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, tan is opposite over adjacent, sine, the reciprocal, is cosecant, hypotenuse over opposite, cos is secant, SEC, so it's hypotenuse over adjacent, and cot is the reciprocal of tan, so it's adjacent over opposite. So find all trig ratios. So let's put the 30, we have to draw for a 30-degree angle. We have a right triangle, and the 30-degree angle could be anywhere, wherever we want, 30 and 60 degrees. And opposite 30 is n, I'm going to call it 1. Opposite the 90 is 2, and 2n, I'm going to call it 2. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. I'm just going to say root 3. Again, you can put 1n, 2n, and n root 3. But because you're dealing with ratios, to find each ratio, the n's will cancel out. So you just need 1, 2, and a root 3 will do. The n's, just keep in mind that you need this 30, 60, 90, so you don't need the n's. So let's look at sine of 30. Let's look at the cos of 30. We're looking at the 30-degree angle, and we're looking at the tan. Let's write down the primaries first. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. In relation to 30, opposite is 1 over hypotenuse. Now you could go, again, 1n over 2n, but the n's cancel out to give you 1 over 2. So when you're doing the trig ratios, you don't need the n's. You just need the 1, the 2, and the root 3. The cos of 30 is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the adjacent, in relation to 30-degree angle, adjacent is n root 3, or just root 3, over hypotenuse, which is 2. The tan of 30 is, tan is opposite over adjacent. In relation to 30, opposite is 1. Adjacent is root 3. Multiplied by root 3 over root 3. It gives you root 3 over 3. And we got sine, so let's do cosecant of 30. Is the reciprocal. Reciprocal of a half is 2. And reciprocal of cos is secant of 30. Reciprocal is 2 over root 3 times root 3 over root 3. So that gives me 2 root 3. 2 times root 3, 2 root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is 3. And the cot of 30, which is the reciprocal of tan, is, I could flip this one. But it's better to go back to this beginning one before I simplify it. So reciprocal of 1 over root 3, root 3 over 1, which is root 3. And we found all the trig ratios as exact values, and exact values means leave them in radical form. Find the exact value of all trig ratios of the 60-degree angle. And again, we have this triangle, and I just draw it again just for a bit of practice. We have a 90, we have a 30, we have a 60. Because we're dealing with ratios with a numerator and denominator, then the ends are going to cancel. So opposite 30 is 1, opposite 90 is 2, opposite 60 is root 3. Notice the length of the sides correspond to the sides of the angles. 30 is a 1, smallest side, smallest angle. 90 is the largest angle, that's a 2. And the in-between angle 60 is a root 3. And we have to do the sine of 60, the cos of 60, and the tan of 60. So, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. 60, opposite is root 3 over hypotenuse 2. The cos of 60, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. 60, adjacent is 1 over hypotenuse 2. And tan of 60 is opposite over adjacent. In relation to 60, opposite is root 3. Adjacent is 1, so that's just root 3. Reciprocal of sine is cosecant. So the cosecant of 60 is the reciprocal, so it's 2 over root 3. Reciprocal multiplied by root 3 over root 3. 2 times root 3 is 2 root 3. Notice it's not root 6. It's just 2 times root 3, like a 2 times x, 2x. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. And we have the reciprocal of cos, which is secant of 60. And that's reciprocal of a half is 2 over 1, which is 2. Reciprocal of tan is cot of 60. And cot reciprocal of root 3 is 1 over root 3. Root 3 over 1 is 1 over root 3, or that's understood to be over 1, multiplied by root 3 over root 3. 1 times root 3 is root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is 3. Or don't forget, any square root multiplied by itself is that number. And find the exact values of the 45. The 45 right triangle is 45, 45. Notice the two angles are equal, so it could be 1, it could be an n, it could be an n, it could be n root 2. But instead of putting n's in, instead of going n root 2, I just go 1 root 2. So let's deal with the sine of 45. Sine of 45, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. 45, opposite, either angle is going to be opposite is 1, hypotenuse is root 2. So you multiply by root 2 over root 2 as root 2 over 2. Cos of 45. 45 adjacent is 1. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's 1 over root 2. Adjacent, 1 over root 2. Again, multiply by root 2. Oops. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Root 2. 1 times root 2 is root 2. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. So notice the two of them are the same because the angles are equal. The ratios are the same. The tan of 45. Tan is opposite over adjacent. 45, pick either angle. Opposite 1, adjacent 1. And let's do sine cosecant CSC of 45. Cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. So hypotenuse over opposite is root 2 over 1, which is root 2. And cos reciprocal of secant, 45. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. And that's hypotenuse is root 2 over adjacent 1. Any angle, still get the same. So two answers. If the two answers here are the same, two answers here got to be the same. Reciprocal of tan is cot. The cot of 45. Cot is adjacent over opposite. Or we could say it's the reciprocal of what the tan is, which is 1. So we got 1 here. Reciprocal of 1 is still 1. So it all worked out. So that's working out the trig ratio for the special angles of 30, 60, and 45. And again, you should know those sides of the 45 is n root 2, or just 1, 1 with a root 2. And the 30, 60, 90 is n, 2n, n root 3 with a 1, 2, and a root 3. If you have all that memorized, you should, because when you do more trigs, you have to know what I'm talking about here. It's imperative. Somehow you have to learn it, memorize it, and I will keep using it over and over and over. If you like my video, click on the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.